By the sea, there was an old little town, houses with tiled roofs. The air carried the scent of salt, and fishermen walked on the cool sand. Here lived a 17-year-old boy named Zander. In front of his house, an old wooden boat was always tied. That boat belonged to his father. Since his own childhood, his father had cast nets into the sea to provide for the family. Their house was small, life was not easy, but their bond with the sea was like that of a mother and her child, sometimes bitter, yet always deep. Zander had never stood out in studies. His grades were always average. But there was one thing that burned inside him like fire, a love for running. He had no fancy shoes, no coach, but whenever he ran, bore foot on the shore, he felt alive. His dream was big. One day, he wanted to join the provincial athletic team. He wanted to run in the big city stadiums and carry the name of his village far and wide. For 2 years, Zander took part in every local race. From school sports days to fairs in nearby towns, his name was there. But every time, the result was the same. Sometimes second place, sometimes third. The villagers would shrug and say, "Zander running by the sea won't win you the world." One morning, when heavy clouds filled the sky, Zander began his usual run. The sand was soft and wet. While running, he slipped and fell onto sharp rocks by the shore. Blood came from his knee. His elbow was scraped, and his body felt a shock of pain. He sat there, breathing heavily. Drops of water ran down his hair, but it was not the rain. It was the water from his own eyes. "Maybe they're right. Maybe this is useless. Maybe I'm not made to win," he whispered softly to himself. At that moment, an old fisherman passed by. A net was on his shoulder, its rope hardened by salt and time. He stopped, looked at Zander and asked, "Son, why are you sitting defeated by the sea?" Zander lowered his head and said, "I've worked hard for 2 years. I run every day. I join every race. But every time I lose, it feels like I'm wasting my time." The old fisherman smiled gently. "Son, have you ever seen a coconut tree grow by the sea?" Zander shook his head. The fisherman said, "When you plant a coconut seed, for months nothing grows above the ground. You think the seed is dead, but in truth, it is strengthening its roots deep in the soil. Then, when the time comes, it grows many feet in just days and gives fruit for years. Your effort is also building its roots now. If you stop here, the roots will never be strong." These words struck Zander's heart like an arrow. From that day, he ran not to show others, but to prove something to himself. He kept running, whether it would rain, strong wind, or burning sun. He never stopped. Months passed. The villagers no longer mocked his effort. They began to look at him with surprise. A quiet determination stayed on his face. Then came the day, the biggest race of the provincial inter-school competition. The winner would get a chance to train at the National Academy. Runners from big city schools were there, wearing the best shoes and uniforms with coaches, trainers, and clapping teams beside them. Zander stood alone, wearing old shoes, but inside his heart, a flame burned that no outsider could see. When the whistle blew, the runners surged forward. Zander did not lengthen his steps. He stayed in his rhythm. He knew that starting too fast would bring exhaustion in the end. He kept his heartbeat steady, like he was running along the shore. First lap, then the second. Some runners began to tire, some slowed down, but Zander's eyes held calm. And then, in the last 300 meters, it was as if a storm inside him broke free. Step by step, he overtook them all. Every stride brought him closer to his dream. And then the finish line. He crossed it first. The crowd erupted in cheers. Some were shocked, some were filled with joy. People from his village clapped and shouted, and far away in the crowd, his father stood, tears in his eyes, pride on his face. Zander was now part of the provincial team. Years later, when Zander had become a successful athlete, he returned to that same shore. The same old fisherman was sitting there repairing his net. Zander softly said, "If you hadn't said those words that day, I might have given up." The fisherman smiled and said, "Son, a man who catches fish in the sea knows when to cast the net and when to pull it back. If you pull it too early, your hands will be empty. You kept your net in at the right time. The rest of the strength was already inside you. Perseverance is like the currents under the sea, unseen, yet strong enough to change the shore. Your effort may not show right away, but it is preparing you for the big moment. Those who give up too soon stop just steps away from their goal. But those who stay the course, one day they win.